Good day, people. I salute you today, depending on any part of the world where you are right now. I celebrate the grace of God upon your life and celebrate the fact that God has preserved you. In fact, I said to a friend that God keeps you all through the saga of COVID-19. It means He is shopping for something big, bold, and better for you in post-COVID-19 society. So it is important you begin to get yourself prepared for the pedestal to ride into your celebration. So today we are going to be discussing on the newer topic this in the same series of productivity. Today I would like to be talking about the art of productivity using Joseph productivity paradigm model. You know, the last edition we talked about the art of producing using Esau's productivity paradigm model. We studied quite a lot of interesting lessons in that particular venture, because we discovered that the man Esau, as our present context has painted him to be, is not exactly who he is. This guy later become a big brand, and an accomplished entrepreneur. He had his own business conglomerate. He was able to raise his own CIA, FBI, his own security warriors and intelligence officers of his time. He was big. He was not relying on anybody to make ends meet. He was a reality that nobody can dust, or relegate to the background. So he existed the same time, Jacob existed, despite everything that happened to him. The good aspect of him is that he became. His father said something to him in Genesis chapter 27 verse 40, said, and when you shall become restless, when you get tired of the burden, it says you shall break yourself loose from every bondage. And exactly that is what the young man did. And he undergo a 360-degree transition to become a new normal that was not evilly fathomed by any school or thought of his time. He became one that the economists of his time could not actually calibrate him and put him on the stage of analysis, because he messed up every knowledge that existed. He messed up the economic theories of his time. He metamorphosed. Somebody that started with nothing. Somebody that started with nothing later became, because of what? Restlessness. That is to say, restlessness in the time of Esau was a kind of asset. I can also tell you that in our time, restlessness is not just an asset, it's a currency on its own. It's a superior currency if you have it. If you have it, then people will continue to write your story, because I won't say you will happen and stop. You become a success, a continuum, a progressive success. You just need to be what? Restless. So let's come to the man. The man is Joseph today. Joseph turned out to be the son of Jacob, the most loved son of Jacob. Jacob had 12 sons, but among all of them, Joseph was his favorite. So the Bible made us understood that he sought for him a coat of many colors. Because of that coat of many colors, his brethren, his brothers, blood brothers, became envious of him, became jealous to the point they planned evil. Not just that they planned, they implemented evil and wickedness of the highest order against their own blood. Just because of two things: the young man had dream and he had coat of many colors. Now let me start it from the coat of many colors this morning. Listen, in the productivity paradigm, it is possible when you look around, you discover that so many people that have idea about the business they want to start on, so many of them had sponsors. Some have those who applauded them to go into the business. Some have those who supported them with cash to go into them. While some actually had good business ideas but had no support, no applause. They have nobody to even tell them, go ahead. There was no moral support of any kind, no physical support, no kind of support. But let me tell you something about these folks. They had what I call credibility. And credibility, if you ask me, in today's economic balance, credibility is one of the highest form of money because it is called social capital. It's one of the highest form of money. They had credibility, and with that credibility alone, they launched their business, and before you know, every other forms of money they needed begin to get close to them, begin to locate them, and begin to go into rifle funnels and channels. And today, those guys have become oracle and gurus in the marketplaces today. Now, listen, Joseph's brothers thought that Joseph has already made it because he had coat of many colors. For them, he has a capital that they didn't have. He has a capital that they didn't have. Let me tell you, those of you listening to me, it is possible you begin to look at the wrong direction. What you don't have is not an issue. What has limited you in your business venture, in the ministry venture, in whatever thing you have ventured at, whether in the secular space or in the sacred space, what has limited you is not what you don't have. It's simply what you have you fail to recognize. Or it could be what you have that you have recognized, but you fail to engage. Because everything you have that you refer to as assets, must have the capacity to generate other assets. And not just other assets, it must have the capacity to create other capacity. It must have the capacity to create other assets. I mentioned three things: assets, and capacity. Anything you have, whatever it is, whether it is impact or income, whether it's tangible resources or intangible resources, whatever it is, you must be able to engage it so that it can effectively and efficiently deliver your expected outcome. And if it fell short of that, then you do not have anything in the first place. So Joseph had coat of many colors. His brother envied him. They thought that that is where the onions lied. They thought that it is because they do not have coat of many colors. For that, they are not going to become anybody in life. Let me tell you something. You can become something in life. If I start telling you my own very story, you will believe that out of nothing you can become. Because the earth we are living in was created out of nothing. The Bible said the earth has no form. It was formless. It was completely void. It was a kind of ontological void. There was nothing existing in it. It made no sense at the beginning. But when the Spirit of God hibernated upon it, earth was created out of that nonsense. At the point that people have ridiculed you, at the point they said you have now become a complete nuisance and nonsense, if you can be able to trace your way back to your maker, that thing they say it is nonsense will begin to gain sense. That thing they say nothing good will come out of it will begin to gain not just momentum, it will begin to generate impact. It will begin to generate undeniable evidence. So when Joseph wanted to create, when Joseph wanted to activate productivity in his time, he was not looking at the world, the coat of many colors, because there are many people who started life with spoon, but they ended life without no spoon. So many people started with a silver spoon, but they ended without any spoon at all. Some people started with a golden spoon, they ended without any spoon at all. There are many who started life without any spoon, but because they are determined, because they understand what is called strategy, and they understand the school of smallness, and they understand something about the curriculum of low ranging, they decided to do something with their life. They had no spoon, no wooden spoon, no bronze spoon. At the end of the day, by the time they begin to activate their mental wizardry and begin to weave their ideas, at the end of the day, today, they have not only bought for themselves golden spoons, they have also built golden houses and golden castles and empires for themselves. Because the empires of tomorrow are not going to be built with marbles. The empires of tomorrow will be built with mind. They understood this earlier and they activated it and they have become. So when Joseph's brother looked at him and said, okay, you are going to pay dearly for this. You are having dream where all of us are bowing down to you, and you are at the same time having coat of many colors. We are going to exterminate your dream. The Bible said when he showed up, bringing food to them, they quickly had a meeting, a kind of ad hoc meeting, and they concluded to throw him inside the pit. Luckily for the man Joseph, they threw him into a pit that had no water. It was a dry pit. There are some people out there, the stage you have found yourself in life is the stage of dry pits. Everything around you cannot help you. There is nothing that can help you. You're just deep down inside the pit. It even appears that nobody is coming out here to help you. It even appears that nobody sees you inside the pit. But I want to borrow something to you, because to find yourself in the pit season of your life and the pit time of your life is not the worst evil or wickedness that could happen to you. Listen, you don't need to drink poison because you're in the pit. You don't need to drink poison because you are in the pit. If you rearrange the word pit, listen, if you apply what I call anagram and rearrange the word pit, you understand where you are. Because for you, it is a pit. But when you rearrange the word pit, it will become tip. T-I-P, tip. And if you look at tip, tip has to be at the topmost top. It means that opposite, you are already programmed in your season, you can come to the topmost top. It's just that you don't know the storyline to weave together. It's just that you don't know the catalyst to activate. It's just that you don't know where to start. You are being ripped apart by mere emotion. Let me tell you something. Listen, no matter what you're passing through, the moment you allow sentiment and emotion to get better part of you, your intelligence will become mortgaged. Your intelligence will become mortgaged, and at that point, you can't process anything. At that point, you can't profit yourself. At that point, no matter the level of opportunity that comes around you, your ego eyes will be filmed over. Your strength will be, short-circuited. You discover at that point, no matter what you have as potential, all of them will become what? Eaten up by emotions. So when you find yourself in any season of life, listen, you don't need to get emotional. Rather, begin to activate your IQ, your intelligent IQ. Begin to activate your intelligence. That intelligence, emotion part of your life is what will put you on pedestal for something big in history. Listen, a man once fell into a pit. Let me tell you something. A man found himself in a big pit, very deep. And he hollered for days. Nobody came to his rescue. And he became hungry. He was dying gradually. A priest was passing by. He cried to the priests. Priest looked in and said, "Boy, how did you fall into that place?" He said, and the priest concluded easily, "You may have committed a terrible sin. That's why God said to catapult you down to that pit level." And the priest passed by, and another person came up and saw him also inside the pit. Every man that comes around, we always have one or two things to say to him, especially things he has not done well. And the man decided to give up to faith. But luckily, here comes another who was not looking promising. If you look at him and calculate him and calibrate him, you will discover that he has nothing to offer by mere appearance. But he said to the man in the pit, "I can help you and pull you out of the pit." And the man was looking at him and said, "How can you? The people that matters never did anything. Is it you that look not inconsequential? What are you going to offer?" Let me tell you, many of us are not productive. Not because we have not had opportunity of encountering men that can help us. The problem is that we have opportunity to encounter these men, but we relegated them to background. We took them for granted. We took their knowledge for granted. We took their wisdom for granted. For us, they worth nothing. They mean nothing. I mean, we had this stereotype in us, this bitterness, this hatred, something that have been deeply entrenched in our reality as a people, as a person, that we use to calibrate people, and we normally easily conclude people at random. Listen, if you still have that as a cultural reality, betting within you and deep inside you, it will be difficult for you to come by high productivity efficiency. It will be difficult for you to come by those outputs, those outcomes that will make you become a celebrity. It will be difficult for you to come across them in life. Listen, by the time this man showed up, he said, "I'm going to pull you out of the pit." And the man said, "Okay, go ahead and pull me now." Very sure ladder. He said, "I don't have ladder." He said, "Very sure rope." He said, "I don't have rope." He said, "Listen, men have come with ladder and rope to help me. They couldn't do it." The guy said, "The ladder I came with is longer than the one they came with. The rope I came with is stronger than the one they came with." He said, "Where is the rope? Then where is the ladder?" He said, "It is right inside my medulla oblongata. I prefer to call it medulla oblongata." Listen to me. What defines a man is not the circumstances around him. It is what he's carrying as a baggage deep inside him. A cultural reality that has been tested and proven over time, that has soaked deep inside him. That is what makes the man he is. So the man said, just give me a little space. Let me come down there and meet with you. He said, you? How can you help me? By coming down inside the same pit to help me. He said, just give me a space. And listen, the young man decided to give space because he was at the dying point. And the helper jumped inside the same pit. The crash landed in line. And told the young man, do you know why you have spent years in this pit? He said, I don't know. He said, number one, sentiment and emotion get rid of your sense of judgment. He said, how? He said, don't you have eyes? Did you look around this pit? He said, yes, I have looked around. He said, then what did you see? He said, I saw nothing. So now look again. And when the guy looked very deeply, look closely, this time around, look intentionally and purposefully, look strategically, he started seeing small holes. He said, I was once inside this pit. I was the one that made these small holes. If you have seen these holes and dip your hand and your legs inside it, you will crawl out of this pit without any assistance. He said, now follow me. Wherever I put my head, wherever I put my hand, put. Where I put my leg, put. And before he knew it, both of them climbed out of that pit. Without any ladder. Others move with ladder that can be seen. There are people you see on earth. They are carrying mental ladder. Inside them is mental ladder. Inside them is something bigger than any communication mask. Inside them is platform. Inside them is stage. Inside them is different phases of intelligence and faculties of knowledge. Listen, one of the reasons why many people are not fast becoming what they're supposed to become, they take men for granted. Don't even take the one that is given back to by your parents for granted because you don't know his genetic makeup. Don't take anybody for granted. Even if you are born as twins, don't take your twins for granted, because every individual caught a different cultural reality, a different structural reality, and a different intelligence paradigm. The way you see is not the way every other person see. You have eyes. Eyes is for sight. It's not for seeing. The people that sees are those who have mind. Eyes is for you to see, to capture optical objects. But when we say a man is seeing, he's seeing through the eyes of the mind. Let me just put it there. So the truth, Joseph inside the pit. Can I tell you something? If he had not gone through pit experience, he wouldn't have become Joseph. That pit experience there was not meant to stop him. It was not meant to humiliate him. For others, they thought they were humiliating him. They thought they were reducing his value. They thought that they were shutting down his dream. They didn't know. They just put him on a free fall, and gravity carried him into history. And at a point they said, oh, what are we going to do? Let us get a change in our hands. Why should we allow him to go there and waste, and when we have nothing? We have only coat of his many colors. What do we do with it? It's okay, look at Ishmael passing by. Can we sell Joseph to them? They sold him straight to Ishmaelites. They didn't know, they just granted him a green visa. They gave him a green visa straight to Egypt, paid his transportation fare, paid everything, and the guy went to Egypt, though he was in chains. Listen, I do not care to know what you are passing through. It is possible you have gone through your pit experience and now you see yourself in chains. You see yourself going back into slavery. Listen, the problems of life does not destroy a man. It only destroys the man by the time he allows his mental faculty to be clouded by mere emotions. Listen, when you